Hey, Phantomaniacs and Hulkamaniacs. Welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today we are taking a look at the WWE Ultimate Edition, Mr. T. So I pity the fool that does not understand just how big Mr. T was in the early and mid 80s. I would say he was one of the biggest names in the world, up there with Michael Jackson, Madonna. Like, his pop culture notoriety was as high as it could possibly be. He was in Rocky 3. He was on TV in the A-Team. He was all over the place. Mr. T was, to me, the coolest guy on the planet. And so him being involved in a WrestleMania in the WWF at the time was huge. You just, unless you were there, you just do not understand how big of a celebrity he was. I met him very briefly at a Toys R Us grand opening here in Georgia in, I don't even know, 83 or 4, maybe 5. I'm not positive at this point. And of course, he just sort of smiled and shook everybody's hand, but very gracious. He was one of my heroes when I was a kid, and now to get this Ultimate Edition figure, you know, we've got a couple other Mr. T's that Mattel has put out. Both of them were great, but this is the Ultimate T. It just is. So I'm excited to get this thing opened up. Ultimate packaging, who knows what this is going to look like a year from now, but right now, it's still among the classiest packaging that Mattel produces. You can see on the side here, you've got the camo jacket look, which is what was represented with the Comic-Con exclusive figure, although that was kind of just a made-up look for Mr. T, but I'm okay with it because it made for a great toy. I didn't review that one because I thought I had another one coming. I didn't, and anyway, it doesn't matter. Height 5'10", from Chicago, Illinois. Finisher, airplane spin, and career highlight WWE Hall of Fame inductee. I would say a career highlight would be appearing at WrestleMania, but, you know, for a celebrity. Anyway. Mr. T doesn't have any time for jibber jabber. At the first WrestleMania, he put a little star power into his knockout punches when he teamed with Hulk Hogan in the main event. He showed Rowdy Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff why he pities the fool who steps into the ring with Mr. T. This is just awesome. I'm so excited to have this figure. So let's go ahead and open it up. These WWE Ultimate Editions, I think the bar needs to be raised just a little bit. I still love them as figures, but for the price point, which granted prices are going up on everything, so actually... you know, maybe now this is a bargain, what they're charging for these. Now, I got mine a little early from Ringside Collectibles, which for certain figures is totally worth it to me. But who knows what these things will cost in a year when all this plastic is gone from the packaging as well. Which, by the way, I support that. I'm fine with it. The jibber jabber stops here. And I pity the fool. You'll notice I'm not trying to do a Mr. T impersonation. That's just not in my wheelhouse. It was when I was like 7, but not anymore. All right, let's get all these parts out of here. You can see this packaging is designed to be opened and closed. You can take the figure out, put it back in. I love the way Mattel handles these releases. Let's get everything out. You know what? I want to try and pull everything as it's intended. So you get this big scoop up here at the top. You should be able to just pop the head right out, and that's not happening. So we're just going to give it a little squeeze from the back. Look at those beautiful chains. Oh, man, this is great. Let me get that box out of the way. No reason to leave that in our picture. Oh, and if you, if you guys are enjoying the new aspect ratio, leave a comment. Should I keep this? Should I go back to the square? What do you think? It doesn't matter. Well, actually, this is easier just to leave it like this. So let me know what you guys think. And finally, that entrance robe. And then T himself. So, one of the big issues, and I don't know that I've really even mentioned this because I haven't reviewed a ton of Mattel figures. I mean, I've done a few here and there. One of my... let's get that rubber band off of him, holding that nice necklace in place. One of my issues with Mattel's figures is I feel like all of the legs are a little too long and skinny. It's just part of the aesthetic. It's how their figures are done, so it's not... like, it doesn't ruin the figures for me, but I just feel like T's legs should be a little thicker and shorter. But I think to accommodate that double-jointed knee is why we see this. So this is great. Look, they've even got deco on the pegs here. Now, pegless would be even better, but I appreciate that the deco is on the pegs. Knee pads look great. And I'm not, we can take a look at the back of the box here, and you can see, some of the details of his gear. I am not here to critique every little aspect of the gear this figure is wearing. I'm just not. I want this to be a good Mr. T figure that I'm happy putting on the shelf. So, like, if his boots aren't quite tall enough, or if his knee pads, which, by the way, these open back knee pads are nice. If the knee pads aren't quite right, that's not what I'm here for, you guys. I'm here to say, is this a good toy of Mr. T? And so far, it definitely is. So you've got a little swivel at the top of the boot. Another thing I wish that Mattel would do is adopt, but that's got such good range. Because as much as I do like a little more they don't have the modern articulation. They've just got that rocker joint rather than having the peg that most figures have now. But that is a nice deep bend right there to where when you do utilize that double joint that's in the knee, unlike most figures don't even need double jointed knees because they can't squat down anyway because their ankles don't bend that far. But with this guy, not that T is going to be doing a whole lot of squatting, but, I mean, look at that. You can get a pretty deep, decent squat with this guy. And you can see that the knee pads are pretty soft and flexible, so they don't interfere with that articulation. So those stripes look great. That deco is just really nice going all the way down, like I said, even through the pegs. This is another issue with all Mattel figures. Let's get rid of that cut joint and turn that into a ball joint, something a little bit better. But the abdominal joint, I feel like, has looked a little bit better as the releases have gone on. I'm a big fan of this joint. In person, I think it's not quite as visible as it is here in this video because we've got the lighting, we've got the intense, I guess, high definition. Not that life isn't high definition, but you know what I mean. Stuff looks different in video, and some things stand out more and some things aren't quite as visible. It's really weird. I'm learning this as I do more and more reviews. He's got these really nice butterfly joints in the shoulders that look great. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, of course. And then, his necklace keeps flopping around here, but let's pop that off. And this is a good thing about Mattel's stuff, is switching these heads out much easier than on some other lines. So you can see right here that cross necklace sized really well. The cross looks great. It's a nice soft plastic, and it looks right on the figure. It doesn't look like this big clunky piece of plastic. Like, it looks pretty good proportionally. So let's take a look at this portrait. Just kind of a mean muggin' T. Like, this is Hogan's doing his promo, T's standing there looking angry. Great portrait, great paint job. The black doesn't quite make it to the top of the hair here, but that's not a huge deal. Really, really nicely done here. I mean, this is B.A. Baracus. I would love for Mattel to get the license to A-Team and do A-Team. I would love for anybody to do A-Team figures like this. So, what else have we got? We've got his hat. Very 80s hat, merch hat. I believe this is a hat that was pretty widely available in the 80s. I feel like I remember seeing these walking around Six Flags and stuff. Fits on pretty nicely. I don't know how far down T wore his hat. I feel like it's not going to be all pushed up like that. I feel like it's going to be pretty low brim. Looks nice. Hulkamania. Printed very nicely on the front, and then the striping, which, if I'm remembering right, on the actual hat, these were different kinds of fabric, but whatever. I don't need seams on this or anything like that. I'm just making a note of it. But I think this was like a yellow fabric underneath the red of the hat, but I'm not positive, and it really doesn't matter. So merch hat looks great. Now let's take a look at the full serving, as it were. I'm just going to put them right on top of the cross. The full serving of jewelry. Look at that. And again, proportionally, this looks really good. All the chains are finely sculpted. All the medallions hanging off here. This looks right to me. It doesn't look like some of the big chunky... Now, granted, this is supposed to be big and chunky, but like some of the necklaces that Mattel and other companies have made to go on action figures are just way too thick and don't look right. This looks right. It looks like T's necklaces. Very nice. Let's see if I can just slide that over his head. Yeah, look at that. All right, now let's look at the other portrait, because this is probably the one I'm going to display on the shelf, because I have both of the other Mr. T figures. I left the Comic-Con one in the box because the box is so nice, but I've got the boxing T that came with Piper. That is quite a war face right there. He's ready for action, looking angry, looking mean, looking Clubber Lang right here. Oh man, that's nice. I like it. All right, let's check out the merch shirt. So this is another little... Oh, and he also... I'll just throw these out here right now. He comes with closed fists, of course, because he's got to. Those look great. This is another issue I have with Mattel. I just hate these shirts and the way that they're... The Velcro, I mean, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look good. I don't know what the answer is, because, of course, for Hulkamaniacs, you want that tearaway shirt... but I just hate the way that Velcro looks, because the shirt, it doesn't look right when it's on. It doesn't look right if you've got them posed tearing it open, because no shirt tears perfectly down a Velcro strip like that. They do have the vents cut in the back, which is great. I think that's a great touch. But I would like for somebody to find a solution to the tearaway shirts, because this just doesn't look great to me. I don't care for it. But it does tear open with some effort. So fools can be pitied, and Hulks can be maniaed. Finally, the last piece of this overall pretty awesome figure. You have his, what is this, a tension bar? What are these things called? These were big in the 80s. I remember if there was a movie with any kind of like Muscle Beach or anything like that, or like big bulky bad guys, they had these tension bars. This should actually bend in the middle there, that they'd be working out with. And this was during promos, and I think even on a talk show appearance, unless I'm mistaken. T was always working out with this thing, and tension bar may not be the right name for it, but I am not a bodybuilding guru, so I'm not sure, but it looks great. Look at the sculpt on this, the loops on the ends, the grips, the paint. This piece actually looks... I expect it to just be like an all-black thing, but this is a newly tooled piece that looks awesome. I think it looks great. And I did forget one other thing, that entrance robe. So we will throw that on him right now and see how he looks ready to go. I guess I should put the necklaces back on, because I believe he wore those out to the ring under the robe. So the robe is hooded. Goes up over his head pretty nicely. It's got the sort of satin on the collar portion here. It's got a belt that's going to be all kinds of fun to get tied if I decide to. I'm probably not going to bother tying the belt because I want to have the jewelry displayed. I want him good to go. Nice length on it, looks right to me. And you know what? I'll also probably leave the hood down because I've got the hood up on the boxing tee figure. So I love it. I think this looks great. The changes that are the things that I mentioned. I wish his legs were a little shorter and thicker. I wish they'd fix this waist joint. The tearaway shirt just doesn't work for me the way that it is. And I understand those are all pretty big issues. But the thing I'm looking at is this an awesome Mr. T figure that I'm going to be happy to have on the shelf? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. I am thrilled to have this T, and in just a couple of days here, I'll be reviewing the Hulk Hogan that goes with him. So thanks for watching, and remember, I pity the fool that doesn't like, subscribe, and share Needless Things YouTube channel. I told you I'm not doing a full-on T impersonation. Thanks for watching, you guys. Come back on Wednesday for the Hulkster, brother.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.